Hello and welcome to this short webinar on the European Innovation Council. My name is Martin Vieira. I'm the national contact point for Pillar 3 at the Malta Council for Science and Technology. And this video is meant to guide any potential applicants, anyone who is interested in the European Innovation Council Pathfinder, Transition or Accelerator programs, just to know what's new in the work program in 2024, as well as kind of the basic structure, who should apply, the conditions, etc. And as well, a brief presentation of the EIC support scheme, which is the scheme devised by MCST to support candidates to have stronger proposals for the EIC. So the EIC is a comprehensive program. It's under the Pillar 3 of Horizon Europe, which means it's focused on supporting SMEs and entrepreneurial entities to get ideas to market. So it will cover all development levels in a product, from the lowest technology readiness levels to the highest, so to commercialization and scale up. So the lower kind of TRL, the lower TRL program is the Pathfinder, which gives up to 3 million or 4 million euro grant, depending on the modality, whether it's an open call, so bottom up, or a challenge call with a specific theme. This is a 100% funding rate. Transition, which is up to 2.5 million grant for mid TRLs, also provides up to 100% funding. And finally, the accelerator, which is more for from, let's say, from pilot to scale up. And here we have a 70% funding rate grant of 2.5 billion and an optional investment component from €500,000 to 15 million euros. So this is kind of really from the first idea to the scale up. You can be funded by the EIC accelerator. And when we talk about TRLs, technology readiness levels, this is what we mean. The idea is there are, more or less three big areas of research. First, it's, we formulate the idea, we do our testing and our formulation of the technology concept in the research lab, and we have, some experimental proof that, the principle is viable. And then we go to mid TRLs, which is to say that we go beyond the lab to validate the technology or the idea. We test it in a relevant environment, and we demonstrate up to prototype in an operational environment. And finally, the kind of real world operation. So the system is completed and qualified for what it is meant to do, and you can let's say, produce it, manufacture it, and scale it up. So these are more or less correspond to the EIC division. So the first kind of basic, more basic research is under the program, the Pathfinder. So the Pathfinder will fund kind of this development of basic ideas. Then transition would help mature these ideas so that they become a specific product for market. And then finally, the accelerator will take that prototype or existing product to scale it up, to finish refining it and scaling it up. It also provides other services all along. They have a top-up grant between the different programs. They give support by coaches to develop the second stage EIC accelerator full proposal. They do, of course, technology foresight, and for the beneficiaries under EIC Accelerator, they provide business acceleration services. There are also a couple, there is the traditional route, which I will talk to you about today, and there are a couple of alternative routes through the EEN network, Europe Enterprise Network, which is also present in Malta, in which there are some programs that help companies access the EIC through EEN. And also, if you receive funding from EIT, there might be a fast track for your idea to get directly into the second round of the accelerator program. We also have some working groups on policy or innovation procurements and a gender dimension as well, which is quite strong. There's a dedicated prize for women innovators, and as well some requirements that gender should be equitable, have equitable representation in leadership teams. So the main changes since 2023 is the introduction of the lump sum cost model. So that means that the budgeting is much more rigorous. You have to, work quite a bit more on it, on the prediction of how you will spend the money of the grant money. But it means that instead of the old model that they released, a percentage of the grant, and then after milestones they released another percentage after you submit a report, etc., they will just give you the grant about for 80% of the money requested, and you will be able to, let's say, go along with very, very minimal reporting burden. So this is a challenge for a lot of organizations, especially because it's new. It's been tested across in other programs, and the conclusions are rather positive. So you will be able to find quite a lot of resources on and training on how to budget using this new model. There is also, unfortunately, a significant budget reduction. This is due to a withdrawal of next generation EU contribution, and also that there is a larger than expected budget reserve for EIC accelerator or EIC awardee follow-up investment. So they've had to reserve part of the grant money rather to follow up the investment in companies that already had some grants. In the Pathfinder, the review tool process has been removed. It was barely used, so it wasn't very useful there. And there is an update of IP rules just to make sure that these considerations are well in place, even at the earlier stage, that there is already some thought on how the intellectual property will be protected. Under transition, they've removed the challenge topics. The funds were limited, so it was decided that the challenges were not really worth it. There's a bit wider eligibility extension, particularly with European defense funds, and there's now a single deadline. Under accelerator, the grant first modality was axed, so it was deleted. Basically, that means that I will tell you more about this, about the types of grants you can ask for. There's a more stringent first stage threshold before they ask only 2 out of 4 goes, let's say, go ahead from the jury. Now they ask 3 out of 4. They've introduced consensus meeting in second stage, so full proposal stage in case of disagreement between some jury members. The criteria of excellence will not only apply to the project but also to the entire company. So is the structure, excellent enough to manage this? We have an automatic seal of excellence award for those companies that get a no-go at the last stage, at the interview stage. This means this award, this seal of excellence, means that it kind of facilitates accessing other funding mechanisms, in some cases nationally, in other cases at the EU level. But so it basically says this project is worth financing. And there are some new simplifications on the resubmission rules, which I will go into detail later. And I'll leave you here the link to the full work program, where you'll find all the details for Pathfinder transition. So the calls and deadlines this year in Pathfinder, the open call is already closed, and the challenges are open and will be closed, in October 2024. The same for for EIC transition. The deadline is 18th September 2024. And for the EIC accelerator, we have full application deadlines open now in October 3rd, 2024. For the short applications, you can apply at any time, and if you get approved, you will get a full year to apply for the full application. So you'll be able to apply in 2025 as well if you wish, not necessarily in October. So I'll talk a bit more in more detail about each of the programs. EIC Pathfinder, as you remember, is the lower TRL, so more the basic research type of program. It funds research to develop the scientific basis that will underpin breakthrough technology. So they have two modalities, as I mentioned, open. So this is kind of a bottom up. So any idea that you have that you want to develop can be developed here. Of course, it needs to be quite ambitious and fit the criteria of the program, which I will talk about in just a few minutes. Or we have the challenges, which are very specific, challenge driven, top down portfolios of calls for proposals. They provide, as I mentioned, 100% funding rate, and they require at least two partners to team up to develop this. So typically, ideally, the SME can be involved, but that's not always the case. Sometimes it's just a university consortium. The funding rate is 100%, so it's quite good. There are a number of criteria here. They call them gatekeepers. So what the program requires is that the research is collaborative and interdisciplinary, and that has a convincing long-term vision of a radically new technology that has the potential to have transformative positive effects to the economy and society. That there is a concrete, novel, and ambitious science towards technology breakthrough, providing advancements towards the envisioned technology, and that the research is high risk and high gain with concrete and plausible objectives. So this is a very key aspect. If the research is deemed to be very predictable and low risk, that means that it's interesting for the private investors or government and so on, and so they should invest. They want to invest in high risk and things that others will not invest in. So the outcomes that they are looking for is that there is a proof of principle that the main ideas of the future technology are feasible, that the measures will allow future uptake, so that you will protect your intellectual property, that you involve and you have a strong team that can advance the project, and of course that you have considering the gender balance and female researchers among the work packages. They will evaluate very similarly to other EU programs on excellence, impact, quality, and efficiency. You can find the details in the work program. But basically, the threshold is fairly high, particularly on the excellence and the impact, because they consider that the quality and efficiency is a bit lower threshold because it can be mitigated quite easily, whereas the excellence and the long-term impact are underlying to the project. So really, it's about the quality of the idea, how this radical new vision can create good conditions for technology to be developed to have an impact on a specific problem. And of course, as I mentioned, interdisciplinarity is very important. So basically what they're saying is that you need to be working across disciplines to be able to have breakthrough ideas. So there will be 4 challenges this year. So the first one is solar to X devices towards cement and concrete as a carbon sink. We have nature-inspired alternatives for food packaging and films, nanoelectrics for energy smart edge devices, and finally protecting EU space infrastructure. You will find more details on the challenges in the work program. I have linked everything in the slides so you can easily access them. So each of these themes will have, detailed descriptions of what they're looking for and the more detailed budgetary allocations and so on. As I mentioned, the evaluation procedure has been simplified. They're removed the rebuttal phase. So basically, you can you will do a full application and you'll get the result. So say you have already, let's say, advanced your idea beyond the proof of concept. So you're saying, okay, my idea the scientific fundamentals of my idea are sound. I have proved it in the lab, and I would like to continue developing my new idea into a commercial product. Then EIC transition is kind of this program. The funding rate is 100% for up to 2.5 million per project. They encourage single beneficiaries, but it may be a consortium that's built. And it's a bit of a special program. It's quite flexible in a way. For instance, they will consider the specific situation of each company, whether they are transitioning to technology, so it's more about maturing the tech, or if it's more about a transition to market, where the market readiness level is kind of more important, or a transition to entrepreneurship, where the project might be a side result of research, and the, let's say, the main team behind the idea is academic, and they need to transition more towards this entrepreneur model. It is a bit restricted in a way because they do not accept, it's not an open call for proposals. They will only accept proposals based on previously funded results. So what does this mean? That means that to be funded, the project idea, not necessarily the project itself or the project consortium. So the project idea, the owner of the IP that resulted from one of the previous projects, needs to have been funded. So Horizon Europe funds through EIC Pathfinder, ERANET, ERC Proof of Concept projects, and European Defence Fund. A number of projects which are basic research projects which are then eligible to transition. If your project is not on this list, it is not eligible. Of course, what I was mentioning before is that it doesn't mean that this project consortium needs to apply to transition. For instance, if you're an SME, research SME, and you're have a look at the list of eligible projects, you could contact the project beneficiaries and ask them, what they are planning to do with the technology, the IP, the knowledge that they are developing, and if it is appropriate, you might have a partnership with them, have an agreement that you will commercialize the IP with whatever deal you want. And in that case, if there is a transfer of the IP or the results to you by the project beneficiaries, then you can apply. So the important thing is that the applicant has the right to use these results from previously funded projects. To make it a bit easier, I've included a link of the full list of eligible projects here in the slides, so you can as well have a look at which are the specific eligible projects. So the idea is that the technology is ready for maturation, validation, for high potential applications. So this is very important, that the impact on market, society, and the environment is important. That there is some exploration, perhaps, of potential markets and potential competitors, and there needs to be kind of this will of building a motivated entrepreneurial team to drive the idea towards commercialization, because EIC is all about commercialization. You should remember this. So here again, very similar, the same criteria with slightly varied different sub criteria, just to consider the technology readiness levels, but excellence, impact, and quality and efficiency. And here, quite high thresholds for the winning proposals. It's a simple evaluation process with a go or no go. You will have directly a one-step proposal, let's say a full proposal in the first step, and then be invited in an interview. And the interview will recommend a go or no go with the same criteria as mentioned before. Okay, so now it's where the program opens up again. So EIC Pathfinder is completely open. You have some challenges, but you can submit any idea. transition, as we saw, is a bit limited because it only funds previously funded projects under Horizon, under very specific programs of Horizon. And Accelerator, again, is very, very much open. It also has some challenges, but it has a very large fund for bottom-up ideas, so bottom-up approach, which means that you just apply for your idea, whatever it is. This program is only for sole beneficiaries. It gives a grant of up to 2.5 million at 70% funding rate. This means that you need to bring in the other 30% of resources needed to, let's say, complete the project milestones. And you can also require up to from 0.5 million to 15 million equity investment. So this equity investment is meant to finance the scale-up activities. So you cannot use the equity investment, for instance, to do R&D, because this is where that is what the grant is for. So the grant is for the R&D activities, kind of the bringing to market, and the equity investment is for the scale-up. And then, as I mentioned, this is mono-beneficiary, so only companies and entrepreneurs can apply. There is not a consortium. It will fund, EIC Accelerator will fund innovation activities like demonstrating the technology in a relevant environment, prototyping and system level demonstration, R&D and testing to meet regulatory and standardization requirements, IP management and marketing approval. And usually the idea is that the projects are concluded in about 24 months, although if it's well justified, it may be more. For the accelerator challenges, there will be a dedicated fund of 300 million for human-centric generative AI, virtual worlds, and augmented reality interaction, including support to Industry 5.0, enabling of smart edge and quantum technology components, food from precision fermentation and monoclonal antibody-based therapeutics for emerging viruses, renewable energy sources and their entire value chain. And again, you can refer to the work program to find more details on these calls. As I mentioned, EIC removed the grant first modality, so now you can apply either only for the grant, only for the investment, or for the grant and investment. And this may be timed differently, of course, that you will achieve some milestones with the grant investment, then you will unlock, let's say, the investment for deployment and scale up. EIC has one of the lowest success rates. The lowest success rates of basically any EU grant program. It's very competitive, and the evaluation criteria are quite stringent. So these are some guidelines as to who should apply. So the idea is that the product, service, or business model is has a high impact. It's innovative, of course, but also has a high impact and can create new markets or disrupt existing ones in Europe or even worldwide. So the impact part is very, very important. Your idea needs to be very ambitious. They want to build unicorns. This is the purpose. The billion-dollar companies that have these take these markets by storm. So they are looking for the ambition and commitment to scale up as well, and again they are looking for high risks that are too high for the private sector to invest on their own. There are some restrictions for some calls about where the company needs to be based and where the parent company can be based. But you can discuss these with the national contact point in more detail for your specific situation. So as I mentioned, again, the program is only for beneficiary, for mono beneficiaries, typically startups, SMEs. It is available for mid caps, but only for the investment component, not the grant component. It's a very simple first stage process. There is an online portal which will be linked in the slides. And you can simply submit a 5-page proposal summary, a pitch deck of up to 10 slides. I've left an annotated pitch deck with some tips on how to build this, and a video pitch with up to 3 people participating, being filmed, and which can last up to 3 minutes. If you're successful, you'll be invited to have a full proposal. I've included the template, and then to an interview, and finally to the negotiation stage. I have another diagram which I will show shortly. So the idea is that the investment is kind of early stage in the form of equity or quasi-equity. As I mentioned, it's not for R&D, it's for market deployment and scale up. And the idea is that there will have to be other investments or other investors along the AC. So this means that you will be expected to try and mobilize private sector investment. And the AC may follow up with more investments. The idea is that it's patient capital with a long-term perspective, about 7 to 10 years and up to 15. And again, as they want to bring in other investors, they target minority ownerships from 10 to 25%, except could be a bit more in some areas of strategic interest. So this is kind of a diagram of how the proposal process goes. So first you have a first short proposal stage, which is always open. You can always submit, and you get your answer in 4 of these 6 weeks. So the majority of the jury of the evaluators need to approve this. And you have the full proposal stage if you're invited. This year you have until 3rd of October. If not, you'll have to wait until the following deadline. I mean, you can submit any time, let's say, but before the following deadline in 2025, which is likely to be in March. Then you get support from EIC coaches to develop your full proposal. You can also get the support of MCST. If 3 out of 3 evaluators give you a go, you pass to the interview stage. And if 2 out of 3 give the go, you only they have a consensus meeting to decide whether they agree that you will invite it to the interview or not. But if there are 2 or more evaluators give no go to any evaluation component, then the proposal is rejected. In case it is approved, there is an interview. There is a unanimous jury decision of go or no go. And if you get a no go, you get a seal of excellence. But if you do get a go, you get a negotiation process going for the grant and for the investment, the due diligence, compliance checks, etc., etc. Again, the evaluation criteria are similar, not exactly the same. You have the excellence, the impact, but then the third one is the level of risk, implementation, and need for EU support. So, to what extent is the idea worthy of the EIC mission? The full proposal is very similar. It's pretty much the same with a bit more detail. And regarding the once you get the grant, the management and reporting, it's quite flexible. It's based on milestones to allow the company to have quite a lot of freedom in how they implement the grant. And so the idea is that you will have to present a credible plan of how you will achieve a TRL 8, so pretty much a ready product, and the milestones will be defined according to this commercialization strategy. So the frequency will vary case by case, but it will be at least one at midterm and another one a few months before the end of the project. And it's basically the progress meetings are quite easy, especially considering the lump sum process, which now really reduce the reporting needs. So you will only have to declare how much you use of the pre-finance and little else, as long as you're hitting your milestones. So the resubmission rules have a bit changed. They were fairly complicated. Now they are easier. you can submit up to 3 unsuccessful submissions to the accelerator at any stage and for any form of support. After 3 unsuccessful applications, you cannot apply again under the Horizon Europe Framework Program. So this is until 2027. So you really need to be careful when you reapply. That first you make sure if you get rejected, and you address really you either address the comments of the evaluators, or you make the changes so that these negative comments, these no-goes are changed. So it's either you change significantly your proposal, or you change as well significantly your product and proposal. And so you cannot just apply, because it's a drain on resources for EIC. So this is how they've limited it. So again, you're expected to reapply only if you have made significant improvements to your application. So it's a very hard program. They do have one of the big budgets, but it's very demanding in terms of the ambition of the idea, and that really the ideas are deep tech at the forefront of technological development. And so this is why it's important to have a chat with the national contact point to see if it's the most suitable program, and if you think it is, and the conclusion is that it's the program for you. You can also apply to the EMCST EIC support scheme, which gives you a number of support options for all EIC programs to help you build a better proposal. So basically, very, very simply, we give up to 10,000 euros to develop a full proposal. So in the first stage for transition and Pathfinder, an accelerator for the second stage, and for the first stage of accelerator, we provide a business coach grant as well as a pitch coach grant, which also may be used for second stage transition applications. You need to meet EIC call requirements. So we will ask you as well for a summary of the project. You need to be based in Malta. If you're in a first stage application, so you haven't submitted your first stage application yet, the experts will evaluate your EIC potential. So if the idea is not EIC material, let's say, they might reject the support. You need to apply as a mono-beneficiary for the mono-beneficiary programs, or as a coordinator. So if you have consortium proposal for Pathfinder or for transition, you need to be the leader of that consortium. If not, you're not eligible for the aid. You need to apply at least 4 months before the chosen deadline. And you need to submit proof of submission 30 days after the call closes. And in case of second stage support, so if you're passed to the second stage of EIC Accelerator, we will ask for proof of having passed the second stage. We will ask you to do your research, find 3 consultants that fit your needs, explain your rationale for your choice of consultants. Of course, we ask you to adopt a best value for money principle, and submitting, of course, all the justifying documents, the invoice, the receipts, the timesheets, the proposal or pitch deck, to sign the EIC support scheme application by the legal representative, to report us the submission of the full proposal, and of course to comply with the de minimis regime. So the things we can look at when evaluating the proposals for this scheme is the suitability of the project and its excellence, that it has an appropriate TRL level, so we may ask for proof of that, and finally the consultant track record of the presented consultants. So if EIC is not for you, because this is a program which is really for the most innovative SMEs in Europe, it's very, very challenging, and of course the vast majority of SMEs, even if they are somewhat innovative, do not qualify for the level of impact they can have, they are required to have under the EIC accelerator. So if this is a program that is not fitted to the development of your idea, there are other alternatives for SMEs under Pillar 3 of Horizon Europe again. So one of them is the European Institute for Innovation and Technology, EIT. Basically, it's an European entrepreneurial support program that gives grants, training, and other services to innovative SMEs, typically for sole beneficiaries. And it has a lot of thematic areas like food, energy, mobility, climate change, health, raw materials, among others, digital as well. So have a look at their website, and you can find out more about the type of programs they offer, and of course ask the Pillar 3 National Contact Point at MCST a bit more about this program. And another one, which is managed here in Malta by Malta Enterprise, is Eureka Eurostars. This is again a program that's focused on getting products and services to market by SMEs. It's a little bit different. It does require partnerships, contrary to EIT, but it's a very interesting program. It funds up to 750,000, and then the funding rate will depend on each country. But do have a look if the EIC funding opportunity is not appropriate for you. You can have a look at these opportunities, which are albeit a bit smaller, much less competitive, and let's say more adapted to the innovative activities of most SMEs. So I'll leave you here a few links. Please feel free to reach out at horizon.malta@gov.mt for any questions, to get in touch with the national contact point if you want to have a meeting about EIC and to see how suitable it is for your ideas. So thank you very much for listening, and I wish you all a good day. Bye.